Samantha Geimer was 13 when she met Roman Polanski. Like many young women around Hollywood, she was an aspiring actress.
I wanted to be an actress. I wanted to be a movie star.
And she got what seemed to be a wonderful break. Roman Polanski agreed to take photos of her for a spread he was doing for a magazine in Europe. Through a mutual friend, her mother had made the arrangements. Samantha says she knew nothing of Polanski's affection for young girls. To her, this shoot was going to be strictly business.
I don't remember my mom saying anything about what she thought of him. It was more like a job. It was more like he's coming to take your pictures and we need to curl your hair.
For his first shots, Polanski took Samantha to a wooded area in the hills. Many poses, several changes of clothes. No place to change but out in the open with Polanski watching.
In my 13-year-old mind, I'm thinking, well, when you're doing modeling, you need to, just change your clothes right there on the shoot and get back to work, not thinking, except you're 13. Because, of course, I thought I was grown up.
Before long, Polanski asked to take pictures of her topless.
So I just went ahead and let him, thinking that, well, it must be okay, and they'll crop them, and it's a European magazine, they show breasts in Europe, and I'll explain it to my mom some other time, and, just not being too naive to realize it was inappropriate.
Samantha says her doubts began after Polanski had scheduled a second shoot, but she kept them to herself and went back for more.
If I would have had the guts, I would have called it off. I didn't want to go.
This time, Polanski took her to the home of his friend, Jack Nicholson.
He asked me to pose topless again. I agree and go ahead and do it. I wasn't feeling like he was coming on to me.
But he was serving Samantha champagne.
Over a half an hour, I have 2 or 3 glasses of champagne. And he's filling it before it gets empty, so I don't really know how much it is. And then I guess the next thing that happened is he asked to go outside and take some pictures in the jacuzzi.
She was nearly naked and more than a bit drunk. That's when Polanski announced he was going to join her.
Now, all of a sudden, I've got myself in, what I can tell is a bad situation. He took off his clothes and hopped in the jacuzzi, and I thought, oh my God, what am I going to do? How am I going to get out of here?
She feigned an asthma attack and ran into the house. Polanski followed her in and quickly offered a quaalude. Samantha says she tried weakly to refuse, but ended up taking it. He then guided her into a dark bedroom.
I just didn't have the ammunition or the maturity to stop it. And so I didn't, because I just didn't know how. He wanted to have sex, and then that would be the end of the night, and I would get my ride back home. I was pretty clear that that's, what was going to happen, and so I just let it happen.
And when Polanski drove her home, he had one request.
He told me, don't tell your mother about this. We'll just keep it a secret.
But Samantha Geimer was finished playing Polanski's games. She did tell her mother, who called the police and got this famous director of Academy Award-winning films arrested. Hollywood director Roman Polanski had seduced a 13-year-old girl whose pictures he was taking for a magazine. Los Angeles police and prosecutors did not intend to let him get away with it. They charged him with sodomy, child molestation, and furnishing dangerous drugs to a minor. Polanski's young victim, Samantha Geimer, had never imagined what her complaint would lead to.
I remember being really shocked, even when I found out that he was arrested and he was in jail. Like, I didn't realize at that age how serious of a crime it was.
And Polanski did not seem to think he had done anything wrong. His reaction to the charges? This girl may have been 13, but she was no kid.
She is not a child. She's a young woman. She had and testified to it previous sexual experience. She wasn't unschooled in sexual matters. She was consenting.
He always said it was consensual, but what else is he going to say?
Rather than talk about how experienced the girl was, it would have helped him if he had said, "I've made a terrible mistake."
His lawyer finally worked out a deal. All charges would be dropped except for illegal sexual intercourse, to which Polanski would plead guilty. The director would have to undergo psychological tests, but he didn't count on those exams taking place behind bars. Judge Lawrence Rittenband locked him up for more than a month at California's Chino State Prison.
I spent those 42 tough days there, hoping that finally I'm going over that abominable period of my life.
When he was through, the psychologists who examined him recommended no further jail time.
And nobody amongst the prison authority, the prisoners, the guards would believe that I would ever, there was a remote possibility of me coming back.
But Judge Rittenband felt that Polanski belonged behind bars.
One of the things that got back to the judge was a picture that was, carried in a newspaper, in a foreign newspaper, of Polanski surrounded by about 6 young ladies, drinking beer at an Oktoberfest, seemingly flaunting his situation in what the judge, saw as the court's face.
The judge said that he would sentence the director to 7 more weeks in prison while pressuring him to accept voluntary deportation. But just a few days later, he appeared to up the ante. In the shower room of his country club, Rittenband proclaimed that he planned to put Polanski away for 100 years. The director, Howard Koch, heard Judge Rittenband boast and quickly warned his friend Polanski.
Polanski panicked, bought himself a one-way first-class ticket on British Airways to England and skipped the country.
That was very unfortunate to have a judge who misused justice. And he was playing with me for a period of a year. It was a year of anxiety, year of drama for me. It was a year which exhausted whatever finances I had. And I thought that was simply enough. Enough is enough, and that was my decision to leave. And did so again tonight.
He knew very well that he could not come back. So he settled in France, where American justice could not touch him.
France greeted him with open arms. They thought that this episode in the United States was a minor one and that he was a victim of United States Puritanism.
And very quickly, Polanski started making movies again.
He's making pictures, and his pictures are being seen at the big film festivals. They're being financed by companies all around the world, as many films are, but he's not been able to make a big Hollywood film.
He could only do that by returning to America. He has not set foot here in more than 20 years because, he has said, his legal status is too uncertain.
I would not say no for going to prison as long as I know where I stand, as long as I don't become again some kind of mouse with which some abominable cat begins a sport.
His chief tormentor, Judge Rittenband, eventually removed himself from the case. Rittenband died in 1993. At times since then, reports have surfaced that Polanski and the courts have come close to a deal, but nothing yet. One also wonders whether Hollywood would take him back.
It would be a little difficult now. He's been out of the community for a long time. Also, the crime is a crime that people don't easily forgive.
One person willing to forgive Polanski is Samantha Geimer. She is now married and has children of her own.
Yes, I've forgiven him. I'm fine It's been 20 years, and I'm well over it, and have been well over it for a long time.